Now obviously this is the Goodyear Wrangler DuraTrack, and you've all seen this tire by now. All right, so I finally got the gauge cluster back from the folks down there at the company called Upfix in Georgia, and it looks pretty good. I'll have to show it to you. Yeah, I'll have to show it to you in the daylight so you can see how it looks, actually get a better look at it, you know, but it looks pretty good. Obviously, I'm getting ready to install it, and we'll see what the backlighting looks like. The one thing that sucks is that the font is a little bit different than the factory font on the numbers and so forth. And over here, it does not have the SRT8 on there, which was kind of cool, you know. But I guess you can't have it all, right? If it works properly and looks good, and I can read all the gauges at night, I guess I'll be happy with it. The other option that they had was an aftermarket faceplate, and it was like a darker theme with black and maybe some blue or purple or whatever. And I mean, it would have been all right, but I just wanted to keep it as factory as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in now. Got my 3 connectors here. I'm just going to snap it in and then put my screws back in there. I do have the battery disconnected. They had a note stuck on here that said that they highly recommend that you do that. But I had already done it anyway. So let me go ahead and put this in, and then we'll see what it looks like with the ignition turned on. All right, as far as putting this gauge cluster back up into the dash, what I found was the easiest was to put the bottom of it right here and then kind of fold the top of it out so that you can see the well, let me get my light back up here so that you can see the wire harness connections and go ahead and pop them in. And then you have to take the whole thing back out and rotate it the other way. The top has to go in first, and then you kind of lift it up and fold the bottom of it down, if that makes any sense. There's a piece of insulation up in here. You can kind of see it through there. You can kind of see it right there also. That will fall down on you probably, and you have to kind of hold that up with one hand while you put this gauge cluster back in there. It's a little tricky, but it's not difficult. It just takes a little time. And then we got a screw back here, and then one down here, one over there, and one back there. And like I was saying, you're going to want to use a screwdriver that has a magnetic tip on it, especially for these ones up here, because they're way back in there, and you don't want to drop a screw way back there because there's no telling where it'll go inside the dash back there. So I'm going to go ahead and put these 4 screws back in, and then this bezel right here literally just snaps back into place. And then I've got a screw down here to put in, a screw down there to put in, and the whole thing will be done, and I can go hook the battery back up. But I got the battery hooked back up. Let's turn this on and see what it looks like. Oh yeah. So this is kind of what they were telling me. Now the camera is not seeing what my naked eye is seeing. I think on the camera it looks more white, but to the naked eye it looks what they call aquamarine. It's got a little bit of a greenish tinge to it. But on the camera, the funny thing is it looks white. So you'll just have to take my word for it. So the backlighting is a slightly different color now than what it was factory, but everything's lit up all the way across, easy to read again. So looks like they did a good job. Now, one thing I will have to do when I go out and drive it, I'll have to run my GPS app and check the speedometer to make sure that it's reading correctly. Cause you know, they should have got the needle back exactly where it needs to go, you know, and so it should read accurately. But I'll go out with my GPS app and just check it to make sure. But yeah, pretty awesome. Now, the great thing about this is I got the part number off of the back of my cluster and I looked it up online, and the list price on the new cluster, a replacement factory cluster, was like $1,000, and the online vendors are selling them for like $750 to $800. This repair, as you see it right here, cost me about $475. So it's still a lot of money, but $475 is a whole lot better than say $800, right? So I saved a bunch of money, and it's got a 1-year warranty on it, and it looks pretty cool. Really, the only thing I don't like is that it doesn't have the SRT8 emblem right there, but I guess that's a minor thing, right? Not a big deal. So anyway, if you've got that, what they call leaking faceplate, that's one way that you can get it repaired. You can send it off to Upfix down there in Georgia. Not only did the technician replace the EL panel that lights up behind there, but they also went through and checked the circuit board. The notes say that they corrected a couple of issues they found on the circuit board, cleaned all the pins on the back and all that stuff. So they basically go through the whole gauge cluster and just make sure everything is fantastic. And, in addition to doing the repair on the backlighting. So I feel like it was worth it, to do that. You can buy these face plates on like eBay or whatever, and you can try to do this repair at home, and a lot of people have success with that. You can do it for like $100, but if you do it that way, obviously you have no warranty. You don't know for sure how long it's going to last or hold up, and you don't get the benefit of going through all the circuits and everything and making sure everything looks great. So, I guess there's different options here, but I'm pretty happy with this. Hopefully it's going to work out good. And that's the first repair done. Now tomorrow I got to put this thing on the rack and start getting it serviced. Got to go through, do an oil change on it. Transmission fluid is due. Gonna go ahead and do the rear axle fluid. It's got 75,000 miles on it. Manual says to do that stuff at 80,000 anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all that tomorrow, but just happy to get this part done tonight. So all right, so the next course of action has been to go through here and service everything. So I drained the differential fluid, refilled it, drained out the transmission, refilled it, drained the engine oil, put a new SRT filter on it, and I just have to fill it back up with oil. And then we noticed that somebody has had this passenger side axle shaft apart before, and this control arm right here, they installed it on the incorrect side of the wheel hub, and so it was actually making contact with the CV boot, tore up the CV boot, got oil and grease everywhere. So in the process now of trying to track down a new axle for this thing, but you know what, that's proving to be difficult. But if I can get that axle shaft replaced and get the car back down on the ground, put some oil in it, I think it'll be good to go. Get out here, have a little fun this spring, and later on this summer I can start modifying it a little bit and doing some fun things with it. But right now I'm just trying to get it back to where it should be mechanically so I can go out and enjoy it. All right, so now I'm moving on to the front ones, and on the front, what I have to do is remove this plastic rivet here. It's just got one of those kind where the head pops out and then the whole rivet will come out. And then you got a couple here that are screws. They look like they're probably 7 or 8 millimeter, something like that. So we'll take those 3 out and put plastic rivets back in place to hold the splash guard on. And then it says I got to drill one up here. So that's not a big deal. I guess 4 total plastic rivets will hold each of these on. And then you can kind of see, let me turn it around the right way here, how it's going to fit on there, something like that. So that should give pretty good protection down the side of the car here, which is what we're after. All right, so there's the finished product. Obviously the car's still up on the rack, but you can kind of see that they do stick out far enough to give you some pretty good protection. And even the one down there in the front, you can see how it's going to do a pretty good job protecting the rockers and the bottoms of the doors from rock chips and all that kind of stuff. Now, this car is never going to see road salt unless I have no other choice. It's going to stay parked all winter, so I don't have to worry about road salt and all that stuff getting on the car, but I do want to keep the rock chips off of it. So. And while I'm at it, I decided to go ahead and swap out these lug nuts because everybody knows that the factory ones are junk. They've got that cap that goes over the actual nut, and over time that thing will come loose and start to spin on you, and then you can't hardly get your lug nuts off. I've already had a problem with one of these, and I noticed that the original owner, hey look, there's a spider. Anyway, the previous owner replaced one of them already. You can see how it's different than the other ones, but I went to the store and got a kit, and these are all totally solid lug nuts. So I'm just going to swap all these out for the solid ones. That way I won't have any trouble. And with the car back on the ground, it's time to fill up the oil. I'm going to put a little bit of the Restore and Protect in here just to clean the engine out. I don't care that it's 5W30. It'll be just fine. And then I'll finish topping it off with the SRT Spec 0W40 Pennzoil that the car actually requires. And now it's time for the finishing touches. So since we had some paint correction done to the car, all the emblems were removed, and it had aftermarket ones on it anyway that I didn't really like. So I got some factory looking ones here in the original style that came on the car, and I'm going to go around and start putting some of those on. Now the SRT8 emblem is pretty easy because you can see how the spoiler has this provision built into it, so it's easy to find the placement on that. But this one will be a little more difficult. I have to make some measurements and put some painter's tape on the fender to get it in the perfect spot, but we'll get it done. All right, as for these 392 HEMI badges that go on the fender, what I ended up doing is I got some guys on the forums to go out and take some measurements for me to see how far down from this fender crease I need to go and how far over from this fender crease I need to go to perfectly, you know, center up the emblem where it's supposed to be from the factory. And then of course I used this crease, sort of like my plumb line, if you want to call it that, to get the area where I'm going to put the emblem perfectly straight, because my OCD would go nuts if the emblem was, you know, crooked. So I've got that lined up, and I've got this lined up, and now I'm ready to put this emblem on there. Should be fun. Alright, that looks pretty hot. I like it. So the previous owner had solid black ones on here, and the SRT8s from the factory had the red and black, and I'm a big fan of it. I think these look pretty awesome, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, so this is my dream car. This is going to be my new project, I guess. I got a lot of projects going on. Working on building a new camper trailer, got some new side-by-sides we're reviewing, got tire reviews going on, all kinds of projects. But even though this is an off-road oriented channel, you know, kind of a homesteading, off the grid, well, there goes a cat. Anyway, it's an off-road channel, but I still love muscle cars and sports cars, pony cars, you know. I've just always kind of had a thing for these cars, and I've always wanted one of these 392 HEMI Challengers, but I never could really justify buying one because the prices were so up there. So found this one at a really good deal, at a dealership not too far from here, and it needed some work. It needed to kind of be rescued, so to speak. It was starting to get into decline. You know, it hadn't really been taken good care of. And I thought, well, this is the perfect candidate, you know, because I don't mind doing some work on these cars. And, you know, my father helps me a lot of the time with some of this stuff too. And, you know, we can usually take something that you can get a really good deal on and put a little work into it and make it into a really nice car. And so that's what's going on here. First thing that happened to this car when I brought it home, I've had it for 2 or 3 months already, actually. But the first thing that happened to it is we sent it to the body shop to get some paint correction done. I didn't get any clips of that, unfortunately. So that's why the car looked so good when I first started showing you these clips earlier, is because at that point it had already been through the paint body shop and had some correction done on it. So it looks pretty good. Got the Plum crazy purple paint restored back to the way it should be. And had to go through and service it, had to put a new axle in it, had to repair the parking brakes so they would hold again, had to put a new gauge cluster in it and get that repaired. You know, just been going through the car and just trying to get it back to factory status again. And then once I get it to that point, which I think it almost is now, then we can start doing a little bit to it to have fun with it. I don't want to get carried away with it because I think these cars are pretty special personally. I know they've been out for a long time, and I know a lot of guys don't think these are really special anymore, but I've just always had a soft spot in my heart for these 392 SRT8 cars. So there you go. It's kind of my new toy. I love this thing. Can't wait to get it out and drive it some more. But the emblems here was the final touch today, and you know, now it's kind of back to where it should be, I think. So I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of content with this. You know, we always hit the biggest car shows and events in this part of the country. You know, we'll be going to LS Fest and some of the huge car shows in Southern Kentucky, and they've got one at Beach Bend called Mo Party, which is all, you know, Mopar guys. And so we'll be doing some fun stuff, hopefully, and taking some fun trips in this car. And it's going to be interesting to see how it stacks up to that 2013 Mustang I had with the Coyote V8. You know, this is a 2013, the Mustang was a 2013. So in that model year, these cars would have competed. And I just spent 2 years in that Mustang, had a lot of fun with it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one compares to it as far as driving it and, you know, performance and all that. So anyway, you can follow along if you want to. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, I just wanted to show this to you so you can see it, get it out there, and got to find a name for it. My wife wants to call it Barney, but I hate that name, so we got to find something different. Anyway, I guess that's all I got for now. I'm going to finish putting the other emblem on the other side and then wrap it up, because believe it or not, we got more severe weather coming. So I got to button all this stuff up before the hail and the high wind gets here. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll have more coming. Talk to you later.